So we're doing another little something on the Cobalt. So from the last video in the dyno, we were got under the car and was talking about blow-by going on, and it just ain't cutting it. I don't like that. It's actually puffing a good amount of smoke out of the exhaust. So we're gonna, there's catch cans and evacuation systems that they got out there, but I want to make my own, and so that's what we're gonna do. And just to see how cheap we can really make it with kind of stuff that we got laying around. And so what we got going on right now is we're cutting a box out of stainless. I know somebody's probably gonna say, why are you using stainless? It's so heavy, but it's what we have laying around, and it's not gonna corrode like mild steel, and we don't have any aluminum. So this is what we're gonna use to make the box out of it. The idea here is, well, let me show you on the car. So, like a lot of things you see on the Hondas where they have like a catch can, and they'll have like the ports in the back of the valve cover or in the front, wherever, and then have a can, which is where, this is where we're gonna be putting our box. And I don't know if they do a vacuum source on it or not, but what I'm gonna do is attach 2 more ports out and actually going into the exhaust to use that as a vacuum source to actually pull some of the pressure out of the case instead of just relieving it with a catch can. Alrighty, so I just got this box done over here, and this is what we got going on here. Got it all welded up and everything. So now with these ports, these are gonna be the ends here. I have baffles over here. So, the oil is gonna travel down and get trapped down in here, and then these are gonna be my 2 outs. Ooh. So what I'm gonna do next here is mock up where I'm gonna be putting these exhaust tubes for the one-way valves. So that's what it is. This piece here is the one-way valve, so it doesn't backfire, or if it does backfire, it doesn't go back up into the hose. And so I got it up here. I've already marked my spots where I'm gonna be putting them, and so basically it's gonna sit up there like that, and then I'm gonna have the tubes run down from where it's gonna be mounted, the box is gonna be mounted, down into these one-way valves. I'm gonna put one here, and then one back here. I thought this was a cat until I actually pulled it off and looked in it, and there's nothing in there, so surprise to me. But so that's where I'm gonna be putting them. So I'm gonna take it down, cut some holes, and start mocking it up. All right, so I got my holes in here now. I haven't cleaned that one up yet, but basically it's gonna slide in there like that. Right about there. I'm gonna match up perfectly once I get there. But it'll sit in there like that, have my tubes run from down the rail here, the frame rail down into that, and then do the same one for this up here. And so now I'm gonna find out exactly where I want them, tack them in, and see if that fits. All right, so I just got these bungs welded in there now, sitting the way they're supposed to. I don't know if you can see. Oh yeah, this one nice you can see. So the air will go into that little slit and create vacuum through this, so I can suck out of the crankcase instead of using the intake. And I'll show you more as we go. Alrighty, so the next step of the process here is to get the valve cover off the engine and weld those fittings onto the valve cover themselves. Quick work, didn't take long at all to pull the valve cover. It wasn't much in the way. She's a little grimy in here, but other than that, she don't look bad. All right, so here it is mocked up. I haven't drilled my holes or anything yet, but that's where I'm gonna be putting my ports. And I'm gonna do the AN just so later on, when I feel like making this legitimate, then I can actually use braided line or whatever kind of AN fittings that I want to use for this. But for the time being, like I said, we're just going to go the cheap route. Alrighty, so I just got these bungs welded up and everything. So here we go, all welded up on top now. And so basically just got to clean this valve cover up because it is dirty and nasty inside with all the shavings and all the aluminum in there. So I got to clean that up real good and then basically just reassemble it. So the only thing I really haven't done yet other than hook everything up, is create a mount for this. So I was gonna do it straight, but it makes more sense to do it at an angle because some of these 3/4 lines, they're pretty easy to kink. So if I kind of ease it a little bit by putting it at an angle and then mounting it to the bolts that the studs that I actually have here already, then it should work out pretty nicely, but we'll see. Yeah, one thing I failed to mention though is that I'm only going to take one source from the exhaust, and the other source I'm going to have coming out of the brake booster here, because this is a way bigger vacuum source than the exhaust that I put in it. So what I did was I teed the original brake booster line here and added this other one in for the evac there. So I have a little bit more vacuum going in to the box there. Alrighty, so finally got this evac system all figured out, all done, and now that I've been running it for a little while, I figured to show you. You can listen to this. Hear all that vacuum there, so she definitely got enough. So just like I was saying before, I ran it off the brake booster line and teed it off with the brake booster here and ran it back into the box over here, as well as one of the sources coming from the exhaust down there, which goes the cords in the back. I just need to hose clamp everything just to make sure everything's all tight and secure, but definitely successful. Hell yeah.